cold, it is going to get worse this weekend and then into next week. Man.
Yeah, so even regardless of the storm, the cold is kind of a big story. Every storm's different and different impacts, different challenges. This one's going to be a completely different storm than last week, and the challenge there was sleet versus freezing rain and the damage those could cause. We're not worried about that at all. We're just worried about snow and how much. So there's a different challenge with the forecast tonight. But we know it's going to have impacts because of what Colin just said there, because the ground is super cold. It's cold all across the area. There's even colder air coming in. So even little amounts of snow could cause very slick conditions because none of it is going to melt. It's going to be blowing around as well. Bone-chilling temperatures. Now, if we get even an inch of snow or some snow pack on the ground, that's going to cause Monday morning to maybe one of the coldest we've seen in at least 6 years, maybe even longer. So you're going to have to be ready for rough travel and brutally cold temperatures through the weekend. This is a little chunk of the polar vortex breaking off into Canada, then pushing down what we call vorticity. This little low is going to come down. It has really cold air with it, has a lot of spin or lift in the atmosphere, but it also has incredibly dry air. One thing about Arctic regions or polar regions and Antarctic regions, we think it's super cold, but it's also incredibly dry. The Antarctic is one of the biggest deserts in the world. The Arctic, not as much, but it is very dry air. So the problem here is, are you going to get moisture to tap in from the Atlantic and the Gulf Stream to help enhance the snowfall totals? It's like this catch-22. Cold, dry air fluffs up the snow so you can maximize it. You ever been to Utah and skied in Champaign Powder? You know what I'm talking about. But it also reduces the amount of moisture. It evaporates some of it as it falls. Very strong vorticity. In fact, if it wasn't winter time, you'd be like, wow, that's a big severe weather risk, because that type of vorticity would create severe weather. But it's cold and dry at the surface, so we're not worried about severe weather. But you can see what a mess this storm is going to be off the coast. And good old-fashioned nor'easter. And speaking of nor'easter, there will be blizzard-like conditions possible along the coast, and then storm surge as well as coastal flooding, because this will have the impacts of a nor'easter. So snow, high impact, borderline high, moderate, depending on the amounts. That's why there's uncertainty. But we know for sure we're going to have travel issues. Good news for everybody. No power issues. The only power issues would be because of the wind, maybe knocks a branch here or there, but nothing widespread, because dry snow in particular doesn't stick to power lines or trees. It doesn't weigh it down like ice does. So with 70 to 80% of moderate impacts, and right now I expect light snow for just about everybody in our entire area. Heavier snow to the east. Now, there could be some enhancement in the mountains on the backside of this with northwest flow. That's pretty typical behind any storm system, which we'll keep an eye on. But our futurecast kind of shows you how this unfolds. I put the temperatures on there just to show you how cold it's going to be. So Friday, we're okay. Friday night, we're okay. But after midnight, which is technically going to be Saturday morning, we start to see snow move into the mountains and foothills first, and then pivot across the area. This will be a fluffy snow blowing all over the place. We'll have drifting, blowing and drifting snow, something I don't often get to say around here. And temperatures teens and 20s, so this stuff is sticky, but you see how quickly it moved out Saturday night. Now, the wind's a big part of this. The winds really pick up Saturday afternoon. Gusty northeast winds could gust as high as 30 miles per hour, so that's why we're going to see some of that blowing around. Now, this is a dry snow. Typically, our snows around here, 8-to-1 liquid to snowfall ratio, so wet snow. This is what you see in most of the models, and why you can't really trust them, because it only shows you this static ratio. In this one, we're probably looking at something like that, which would enhance the snowfall totals. So when we look at this, you're looking at big old snowflakes that are going to come out of this, those dendrites we typically see. And obviously, we'll have more time to talk about this over the next couple of days. But let's go quickly to your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Those temperatures very cold this weekend into Monday, brutally cold. In fact, single digits in teens. We could be even colder Monday morning, depending on the snow cover. Then next week, maybe we get back to 50 degrees by the end of next week, which would be the warmest we've been in quite some time.